3, 2.
1. Did you start reading? You're going to introduce
Yes, sir.
everything?
No,
Okay.
that's
Let's do this.
that's how we do it.
Seek on high bare trails, sky reflecting violets, mountaintop jewels.
One more time.
Again?
Yeah.
Too fast or what?
No, it's,
Seek on high bare trails, sky reflecting violets, mountaintop jewels.
what do you think? What do you think that means, Gil?
Mm.
What do you get from that haiku?
Oh man, it's a good one. It's just about, for me, it's just the path to achieving something. You know, and these trails are pretty high, but at the top there's some jewels. You know, which is the achievement, that sense of
Yeah, this one's a little.
I kind of have an idea.
Yeah.
I feel like I
Alright.
have something.
Okay, go ahead, Robert. What do you think?
The jewels and the violets. They're saying you can find, like they're comparing the flower and the jewels. They're
So like you can find beauty.
you can find
in
beauty.
the violets. Oh, okay, exactly, right. So seek on high bare trails, sky reflecting violets, mountaintop jewels. Exactly. So you can find beauty in just about everything. Yeah. So what's going on, guys? Today we have Gilbert and Robert. Robert, welcome back for the second time this week.
Hello.
What's going on, Gilbert? What's going on with you?
Huh?
What's going on with you, man?
It's going, just one day at a time, man. One day.
Yeah. How are you handling this coronavirus, man?
Oh man, well, I don't know. It's just it's one of those things, where you just have to fucking just adjust to what's happening, and then just try to continue your day by day, try to continuing working towards your goals. This is something that it happened already. You can't really stop it. You can't really do anything about it. Just take your precautions. Obviously, wash your hands and stay away from crowded areas for now till everything kind of mellows down. But that's about it, man. It's just I think we're very advanced in a way where we can control this without completely going on quarantine,
Mm-hmm.
and with social media now, it's become more aware of trying to do that, so it's social media is bad, but then at the same time it's good because it brings awareness to everything. So
Yeah, I find that it's very inflaming.
yeah,
Like it just helped spread the news faster.
exactly,
Right?
I look at memes.
Yeah.
I get all my news from memes. So when something's happening in the meme community, and I see more than one, I'm like, oh, this must be something that's happening, and then that's when I go and I'll research what that is.
Oh, so you see like the trend within the memes?
Yeah, there are trends within the memes. So like with this one, I saw the coronavirus memes when they were kind of first starting, and it had to been like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, something like that, 3 weeks ago. And that's kind of where then I saw more. The next day you see more and more, and now there's so many memes about the Rona, because that's what they use in some of the memes. So that's how I'm getting my news.
So even now within these times, people have made light of the situation, huh?
Yeah. Like I like the memes. I think I think they're really funny, and it's not like I'm still not getting my information from the internet,
Yeah.
So, and then I'll have my Instagram page, and I follow, I'm sure we all follow the same ones. You guys follow like Valuetainment
Oh, yeah.
and Grant
Mhm.
Cardone and things like that. So they everybody's trying to. It's almost like a marketing tactic right now. It's generating looks, eyes, views, and likes and shares. Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, I will. I wasn't gonna stop. You gotta. But so I think it's like a marketing tactic also, and then also for memes because they're fresh. I don't know. Do you guys look at memes? Do you guys meme? Because I feel like
I think we all do.
okay.
I think we
Are
all
you guys
do.
getting your information from memes though too?
Man, part of it. I mean, it's everything. It's a combination of everything of Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and everybody else.
Oh.
That's just another form.
Oh, like yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's like whatever you
Yeah.
look at most is where you're gonna get. your information.
Yeah. So my Instagram account, that's
Yeah.
where but I saw it in memes first. I don't know. I just saw it in memes first. It was like memes about China when it was just first there.
That thing spreads like wildfire, man. That thing is quick
Yeah.
because it came out of nowhere. It was gradually going up, but all of a sudden it was everywhere now. Once the news and everybody started really going,
Yeah.
so it was like now, but now it's like everywhere.
Yeah. So when I first saw the memes for the coronavirus, it was just memes about China.
Yeah.
And then they were funnier, right? They're funny, like, oh, what's just another thing. And then a couple weeks slowly it just starts to more like our hometown kind of memes. And now we're kind of now there's the news. Now then you have like social media
Influencers, right?
yeah, influencers,
Yeah.
Even us talking about it right here, right now. It's yesterday or the day before the show was Panic. It was just because you wanted to put coronavirus or something like that.
Yeah, well, I did some research on it because at first Greg and I were talking about it and we were speculating that it was a hoax, that it was like fear mongering, and I didn't really see the effect. Like I hadn't seen the effect going to the stores or anything like that. So once I started seeing that, then I started to be like, to ask myself, so this is actually a thing. It's not just like a scare tactic,
Yeah, no, this is like I was telling Robert earlier, this is like I was like, I'm going through a movie right now. You ever see those movies where there's like those emergencies, the world emergencies, and people, I'm seeing this like, but live, because going down the freeway, you get the signs of COVID-19, type of stuff, and then you go into the stores, any store now, and the shelves are like empty.
You went today?
I went yesterday.
How was it yesterday?
It was empty. Well, I went to a Walmart.
What's empty to you? Like, because a lot of people are saying empty. Like, empty,
No,
empty.
like,
What is
The
empty?
shelves like empty. Completely empty.
No food.
No food. Like it completely empty.
No, I haven't been. to the grocery
Yeah.
stores, so.
So it was like maybe like 60% of those shelves were completely. There was other shelves that had some food.
What kind of food?
Dude, man. Like canned food and stuff like that. Like the packages packaged. But now
So the ones that are supposed to be bought? The ones that are for this emergency?
But throughout the whole aisles, you know what I mean? Like it's like the vegetables.
So there's, the vegetables are
everything-
gone?
Yeah, everything's gone.
The cans were gone?
Yeah.
Oh, there's no cans, there's
no
nothing.
cans, nothing.
What'd you get? What'd you end up getting?
I got salads. There were some salads, some like bowl salads.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
But
good.
No, it gets pretty crazy.
That's it? That's all you got?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, no.
it's
Okay.
just for her to. Because I don't think they'll close the stores. I don't think they'll close the supermarkets. I mean, it's.
Well, right now, as far as I know, they've closed restaurants.
For sure.
So
yeah.
you can't go to a restaurant, but you can order takeout. They've closed gyms. They've closed anything that has over 25 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that holds over 25 people. Because people have to be 6 feet away from each other. So even at Costco, they're having people walk around within 6 feet of each other. And they're only allowing like 100 people into the warehouse to do the shopping. And when the last person checks out, then they allow the other 100.
But they're still waiting outside. To
Yeah, see, I think that I think that
that's
it's
what
not.
I'm saying, is like people are going like the airports, like they're really crowded. You know,
Mhm.
it's like, I mean, that's defeating the whole purpose. But can you control that? You know what I mean?
Well,
Because
right
here
now
we're going to
they
Costco and you said 100 people per, at a time, but the rest are outside,
Mhm.
and you know, I don't think they're keeping their distance. You know, they're trying to get in there, so everybody's just cramping up. As well,
Right. So Robert and I were talking about that the other day, saying that supermarkets have become a hotspot, and it's become a prime location to actually catch the virus because you're shoulder to shoulder in line waiting for, for the 2 hour line, and so.
What have you learned so far? Like what's your development?
For me, I've learned that you need to be prepared for things like this. That this is really unforeseen. I don't think anybody foresaw this happening. Like we were talking about the economy going down and everything, but I didn't know it was because it was going to be like this.
What's prepared? Like, okay, what if we knew about it and then we were like, all right, let's do it. We're gonna get prepared. What would we have prepared for? Like, what would we do?
Well, for me, exactly what I'm doing now, which is I've made it possible for me to work from home. That's number one.
Okay.
If we're talking not just about the economy, but about the virus itself, is just work from home. The less like people interactions that I have, better. Number two is having food, just getting what I need. Just having the essential. Like sometimes I find myself forgetting to go and, we're running out on toilet paper, and it's not until I have the last roll that I go to the supermarket. So that, just keeping track of things that I need. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I kind of think this might be a big wake up call for people, and it's going to be more about them being prepared financially. Because there's a lot of people who are working from home, and fortunately enough for them, they will be able to continue business, right? Not as usual, but continue business. And there are going to be other people, because we're not going out, we're not spending money. A company has to make a decision, and then they're going to have to tell a couple of people, hey, don't come into work today. We can only keep a certain amount of people. They're not firing them. They're just telling them to do it. So, these people who are not going to collect unemployment, who are not going to be able to do that, those people are affected. And now it's like a wake-up call. Even for myself, it like re-wakes me up, even though we've been on a kind of a financial path, us three. It still kind of woke me up again to go, are you really prepared financially? Because they project this, several months. So would you be prepared to lose your job right now and continue to be able to pay your bills on April 1st? Would you be able to do that for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? And a lot of us are not going to be able to answer yes. And that kind of woke me up a little bit and go, how could I be prepared for these things? Because I don't know, as I've seen, they come and go. Like if you look back at history, these things just come and go. So if they come and go, then we could have been prepared knowing that it's going to come and we're going to fix it. And then, but in the meantime, we're starting to really worry and panic. And not only are we buying things, like you mentioned, the toilet paper, and then everybody's getting water and all that, that's great. But financially, we're not really resolving that. Or we don't want to, not that everybody's not thinking about it, but a lot of us are getting that little scare from
maybe
financial
they weren't thinking
crisis.
about it, but now they're definitely thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then also like your investments. Where'd you put your money? Into something that's very volatile or something that's safer? Because a lot of people, I know some people that lost like $500K just overnight when the stocks plummeted, So yeah, I mean, you just got to be aware with where you're putting your money on. Is it safe?
Yeah. And this panic will get people to want to remove this money, not realizing it's just going to make a lot of other things worse when we don't have to remove it. Although when you're talking 500,000, there's millions out there and someone doesn't want to lose everything that they've worked so hard at retirement. So it's a very scary thing. It's like this thing is also getting people to pull out their money and go, that's not safe. It's just not safe. So that's a good one. Where people are investing their money, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So the financial preparedness is the one that kind of, hey, if I lost, because what if all business was out right now? You know, that's.
And you know what, man? I feel like the restaurants, the small business owners,
Yeah.
they're gonna lose a lot. We're gonna lose a lot of restaurants today, you know, within this time. And small business is how the economy is sustained in the U.S. It's the small businesses. It's not these corporations, you know. It's what are they gonna do? What are we gonna do when they're gone?
The coronavirus bill I was talking to Gilbert about it. They're for small businesses. I don't know, National Treasury, I don't know what that's called, but they're making it a smoother process right now for smaller businesses to get a loan.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. They want to just bypass what would take like 3 to 4 months. They're trying to shorten that so you can get a loan much faster for cash flow.
Mm.
So the people who are running financial money up there, they have their eye on this, that this is going to affect businesses, and it already is.
Yeah.
And so that's a help right there. And then also, you still have to file your taxes by April 15th, but now they're giving a 90-day payment extension with no interest and no penalties. So you can move that forward, which will help alleviate cash flow for the next. Yeah, it's going to help a lot for the next several months while this is just going on. What they expect it to happen, that's going to help you not having to force a check out on April 15th. I think it's June 15th or July 15th. I don't know what 3 months.
I think it's April.
Okay. No, April 15th is the normal day where you drop your check in, and then 3 months from April, whatever that is.
Okay.
May,
Yeah.
June, July 15. So that's 90 days right there for up to $1 million. So that's most small businesses.
That's small, yeah.
So that's going to help out a lot, and it'd be good to know that if you guys know anybody, let them know that.
Yeah.
So that's a big effect, but that's also even for businesses. So if we were to ask that same question for businesses, it might not be toilet paper or anything like that, but it might be some cash flow, a survival rate of 3 to 6 months of cash flow. Despite what people tell you is like, you gotta save, put your money and keep it in making money for you. Some money doesn't have to be an investment. It could be an insurance. Because, who's coming to help the small business owner right now who is losing a ton of business?
Mm-hmm.
He has no cash flow right now. So being prepared financially, especially in the business,
It's really important.
it woke me up. It woke me up a little bit too. Kind of like, hey, yeah, this is the what's going to happen to me if it lasts for 3-4 months.
Yeah.
Right.
So that help is there. So that's good. You can try to go to a bank or something like that. I'm not sure more information on it. I'm still kind of learning about it, but I guess go to your bank and talk to your bank if this is possible. I'm sure the first step they're going to do is to make it like every bank should know this now. Like, hey, we're
course,
offering
yeah.
this. Let's give it to business owners.
Yeah.
So if you need it, Gilbert, for that system with the
water fed.
the water fed system. I mean,
And by the way, man, what you've done to that van, dude, I'm really not just proud, but I'm very impressed. You've made it. You brought it into fruition, and now it's like I compare it to other vans out there, to other like service vehicles.
Yeah.
They do not compare to the van.
I know.
The efficiency, the professionalism, and I mean it's just awesome, man.
It's been a great experience, man. It's been awesome. Me and this guy have been fucking grinding away to get to that point,
Right.
Because this whole thing we planned it for a whole year. It didn't just out of nowhere, like, hey, we're sitting in and hey man, let's get the van. No, this was like, starting January of last year, we were like, all right, man, what's the next move for Pure One? And that was it. It was the van. It was the whole getting it wrapped, getting it going on to the next level of business, you know, and but that whole journey seemed like forever. It took a while, you know. We go in there and you know, like, unfortunately my credit score and all of that we're not the best. We're not the best. So, you know, I just recently started to change all of that. My whole financial situation started to change. So, but this was in the process of planning for the van as well.
Yeah, it was in the barrel.
Yeah, so I was trying to, you know, fix my whole financial situation and at the same time plan something, you know, to get for the next step if I want, you know, this company to grow, you know. And it's one of those where you're like, okay, well, I could live off of what we have now, you know. And
Which, by the way, it brings us to the whole preparedness. You're a small business owner. How are you handling like the situation right now?
I mean, you know, it's tough. It's tough, but I mean, for me, it's more like you know, the weather's, because I'm a window cleaning company, so it's the weather's been rough. But most of my clients, you know, they're still working, and they still want their windows cleaned, so it hasn't really.
But what I mean, like, just your day to day, like, because some businesses like restaurants, like what are they gonna do? They have to switch. They have to tell, you know, give their employees like leave, and all they can do is do takeout. It's like you can order food, but for takeout only. Like, you can't have people coming into your restaurant. How are you adapting into?
Well, for me, it's just me right now. You know, we're a very small company. You know, I don't have employees to worry about, so that's something that I'm not worried about. I'm only worried about myself, and me understanding that, you know, I'm just living on the minimum. You know, I'm not really paying myself right now, and you know, all the money that I get is to pay the insurance, the car,
just the essentials,
to keep us there.
I'm gonna say it's gonna take a while for the 1% to be affected.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a little longer.
Definitely.
I'm not saying they won't be, or they may haven't, but as much.
Yeah.
And Gilbert's clients are the 1%. It's
so,
kind of that's the truth of it. I think it'll take a little while before he gets.
See, I've been thinking a lot about what we've been doing as a group, and even throughout this time, I feel like we're really lucky that we picked this industry, you know, the service industry, but more like particularly in the real estate, you know, because I've been affected by it, but it hasn't been like a direct effect. Like, there's consequences, and there's things that are going to happen with tenants and whatever, but I still, you know, somebody still has to pay me to take care of their asset.
Yeah. This is probably the wake up call for people with job security.
With no job security.
With no job security.
Right.
With no job security. Because you feel like you have a little job security.
You kind of forget, right? You know, you go in 3 years and you're steady. You're getting your money. You know, you're not thinking about the savings. You just, I'm fine. I'm good. You know, you're not really thinking about it. And then something like this happens.
Yeah.
What? You know?
Well, so here's like the scenario that we were talking. A restaurant right now, obviously they can't have everybody. Who is gonna be the first person when the boss comes up and he goes, hey, we have to make this decision? Who is it gonna be around you? Is it gonna be you, your employees, your coworkers, your subordinates? If you're the supervisor, are you one of 5? Are you one of the 5 supervisors that's gonna be the one to be told, hey, just don't come in? Yeah. Just don't come in today. But why didn't you ask them? Not so. This is also waking a lot of people up. And like, how good are you at your job? Yeah. How much value
have you made yourself indispensable?
Have you made yourself indispensable, valuable? And then you'll see real quick when the manager has to make a decision. They're going to look at who's been calling in sick. They're going to be looking at who's been calling in late. They're going to start pulling all that stuff that they never cared before about, because you were just another employee. They didn't really expect much of you. But when times get tough, they're going to bring old shit up. And then they're going to bring it to you. And then when you ask, why wasn't it that guy? It's because they're going to be like, well, you're obviously not at the top of the totem pole there.
But how long do you think that's going to last?
In which part?
In the way where, you know, that wakes people up, it gets people thinking, but then the situation gets a lot better, and they go back to work, and they just go back into their routine.
Well, those people are going to continue doing that. I'm only talking about us three and whoever would ever listen to this
Which
podcast
is
and me
the
saying
lower
that.
1% of that.
It's
It's
the
gonna
one
be
of
the
the
1%.
the one of the 90%, I guess, whatever
Yeah.
we want to call it. Maybe those who are listening
Yeah.
to this and go like, yeah, that's true. I don't want to be that person. But obviously, no one who's not listening to this and maybe don't know that they're
Yeah.
gonna just keep repeating the cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not gonna change.
Definitely. I mean, for me, it's more of a education, man. Educating yourself in that. You know, as business owners, you know, we look at that now. You know, we look at, you know, are we prepared? Do we have money saved for anything? You know, because we know that sometimes business is good, sometimes it's not. So it's, for me, it's, as a business owner, educating yourself in that sense of understanding everything that, you know, the scenarios that happen to your business and prep for those. You know, so for me, it's more of continuing the education and having a mentor and talking to people and surround yourself with that community that speaks about money and stuff like that. And that'll get you to the next level, I believe.
The only way I would have learned that
Mm-hmm.
was not from like mentors or anybody, but from it actually just like happening,
Occurring.
like
Yeah.
occurring. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Experience
But
is
it gets you
the
prepared,
best
it gets
teacher.
you prepared, you know?
Mhm.
You have to be prepared.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what I've learned throughout this whole thing. The new thing that
And then learning business.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you understood
Yeah.
business and you understood the way it works. Okay, let's say you go with no knowledge of businesses at all. You just don't care because you're not a business person. Maybe you're a career type person, and you want to start a career. Not understanding what businesses really look for is rough, because you could be really good at that particular career, and you're not going to really know what businesses look for. It's the value, the indispensability, the knowledge of many other things in the business, not just one thing, just many other things, and being able to stick around and being an all-around like tool for the business.
Yeah.
And then that, I think, is just any knowledge of business, because just me getting into business, kind of, I know what I would look for in an employee. So when you're coming in as an employee, some employees won't get into that mindset of what does the business owner want from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's going in there just to do a job. You know, they're like, I'm here. I may be here on time, but what is it that you need? Like, well, you want me to do that? Okay. And then there's not that above and beyond
And
mentality.
if you want to be that person, God, I'd love to be that person. I can't be. I don't know. It's just not. But I've tried to be, and it's very destroying. I can't be that person.
What person?
That person you described, which is just go in, do the basic, get nothing. I don't want more. I can't go into a company thinking, even if I'm just a low level employee.
The employer's expecting an A, you're giving them a C.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just trying to pass.
You're just trying to get your money.
I did that in high school. I don't do that at jobs when I go to work. So if that's the case, then yeah, that's probably how it would happen.
Yeah, experience. Yeah, you would have to figure it out once it happens. If you don't learn from that, I don't know what to tell you, right?
Yeah. So,
So finding out what the business owner wants, and then we're gonna see a lot of those people that it happens to. So it's really sad, because there is a lack of education,
yeah.
right? And it's gonna be really sad that they weren't taught this, or because how do you look for something that you don't know what you need? Like how do you find that? Like who would, like we said, if it happens to you, that's how you learn. How could we prevent that? It's just through that knowledge.
I think that there are certain red flags throughout your life, throughout your job career. There's things that happen that you have to be attentive. So you just got to be aware.
Yeah.
Like, but see, how are you aware if you don't know you need to be aware? So I think that it's even, the problem's even before that, before you're even in that job, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, explain it a little more.
Okay. in order for you to see the red flags, like see the signs, we could have all seen this coming, you know. But most of us ignored the red flags. Like for me, for instance, I was thinking that this whole coronavirus was a hoax, so I didn't rush to go and get prepared. See. Well, if you put that same framework around a job, there's some people that they don't see getting fired coming. They're like, oh, I'm just here doing the C work, whatever. You're not an A worker. You're a C worker. If you don't see the red flags, like your manager asking you certain questions, or why are you calling out, the manager comes up and starts giving you write-ups. If you're not attentive to those things, you're not aware, sooner than later you're gonna be fired, and then you're gonna sit down and ask yourself, well, how did I get here? You see? So, but what I'm saying is awareness is the key. That you have to be aware of those red flags. Like, oh, I messed up yesterday, man. Like you gotta reflect.
That's self-awareness. That's self-awareness. That's like being able to see your own flaws and not be in denial about it. So if you know you're coming in late and you act and you're that type of person that's like, it's okay. Like they don't care if I come in late because they don't really say anything and they don't really do anything. So it's okay. And then but when you're like saying like I'm not a bad worker, or like I'm a good worker, I'm like, when and you're coming in late all the time, or you're calling in and you're just doing the bare minimum, or that's very little self-awareness. But could a person like that save 3 to 6 months of expenses and not worry? Just be like, you know what, I could do the bare minimum here. When they let me go, there's going to be another job. There's another job next door for those kind of jobs. There's another one. There's a lot of those jobs. So I don't know. It's self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
It's self-awareness. It's having.
But again, how do you become self-aware if you don't know you need to? I'm gonna tell you what helps, and I think we all learned self-awareness in the last 3-4 years. It's having good people around you, good people that will call you out on your bullshit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if you don't have that, and it hurts at the time.
Yeah.
But when you don't have that kind of people around you, and they're also unaware, then yeah, you're in for a struggle. But once you surround yourself with a self-aware person who not only just is self-aware, but has the capacity to tell you, hey, this is what you're doing, and you're looking at it the wrong way.
And that they care, right?
And that they care. Yeah. It's hard to find people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody has friends who care. Some people are alone, so yeah, you lose that. And then from there, I think that's where it really comes from. And then from there, you start reading about it. You start understanding why you're doing this and why you can't stop doing it. You have to learn that it's the people around you that tell you first. And normally it's supposed to be a mom or a dad, right? Normally, they're supposed to teach you how to be a hardworking, responsible human being. But when they've also lost self-awareness, who's teaching who? So then, you leave, you go to school, and you do something that your parents never done, and you start learning about psychology. You start learning about business. You start learning about how to do this, and more information that they've ever received. And then you're like, oh, man. And then you guys experienced this, like you guys used to do something really cringy. Oh, Marco, you used to do something really cringy. But wait a minute.
Let me put the spotlight on my.
Okay, before you discuss it, let me finish. Hold on. So, self-awareness. Like I've done something that I used to do when I was younger, and I'm going to throw an example out in high school. And then I later on look at it and go, I can't believe I used to do that. I can't believe no one around me told me not to. I can't believe my friends didn't think it was bad, or girlfriends didn't think it was bad. Family didn't think it was. I'm like, wait a minute. No one called me out.
No one accepted it.
So we just kind of, everybody just looks straight because we don't want to call other people's things, but we get a little unaware.
Do you think that it's fear that they're gonna call you on?
So no, this is why I need to ask before you ask. I'm leading to this.
Okay.
Why didn't anybody around you and your friends, like tell you, hey man, like why are you running? Why are you running home every day after you leave the bus? Like the next day. If you had a friend, right? I'm sure you had a friend on the bus. He'd be like, hey Marco, like explain. Explain.
Way to set me up, man. Okay, so for those of you who didn't know me in freshman year we went to Foothill High School, right? From my complex, I think I was the only person that went to Foothill. So I would have to walk myself, to the bus stop, which was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 blocks away. And actually, the first day I met a friend named Marcelo, and you guys know him. Well, after school, he lived closer to where you're moving. He lived closer to you, where you're going to be, which is not anywhere near my community. So I was forced to walk home alone, right? Well, to my understanding now, in hindsight, I was just trying to get home so I can just watch TV or have whatever I was doing. And so because it was 4 or 5 blocks, and then having like social anxiety with a group of people that I didn't talk to, and then like what was my option? Just walk, feel uncomfortable, for 30 minutes walking home, or just 15 minutes of running. So I think that was my thinking back then. Uh-huh. But dude, as soon as now your wife, as soon as she called me out on it, and then we became friends, it like completely stopped, and it wasn't so awkward.
How long were you running for?
Dude, it must have been like a week. First 2 weeks of school. Yeah. Okay. But I've never done that before. But in like elementary school, I used to ride the bike. I used to ride the bicycle to school by myself, and so I would, I'd just haul ass there and back. But then once I started getting like a couple friends, and I let the bicycle go, and I was just walking. But it's funny looking back at it now, man.
Yeah. So it's just complete but I guess you had some awareness. Did you? You thought it was fine. You thought it was fine at the time,
dude. I right now, I honestly, like what I just said, it's me rationalizing what happened. I really don't know what happened. I don't know why I was running.
You blacked out every time?
No, like I just wasn't thinking about that. Like to me, it was it wasn't important.
I think you were just focused on something else that you needed to get done, and that's the way you felt. Like.
Why would there be people looking behind you? You said people that you didn't know looking behind you. Who were those? What do you mean those people?
It was just like people along the way that lived in houses along the way.
Oh, so you just wanted to get home faster?
Yeah, I was just trying to get home like as fast as possible.
And you just run. So you just run.
Also.
Right, but how else are you gonna do it?
But also, I'm a teenager, so I had a lot of energy. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'm expending the energy. I don't know. I really don't know why I ran. Like I wasn't scared. Like I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, that's
cringy thinking about it. For 2 weeks you see like. And then, dude, your wife would be like, "Run, Forrest, run!" And I'm like, "Oh!" And then, having like like a small locker, you would have to take all those heavy ass books home in your backpack, or maybe your mom didn't have enough to buy you a lock, So I would have to take all my books home, dude. I would just run. And one time, dude, after it rained, I didn't run this time, okay. But I was walking in the rain, and there was a corner of 4th, Tustin and Fruit.
Okay.
At that corner, once it rains, if it rains a lot, it puddles. So I'm sitting there pressing the button, and I see the bus. And this is how unaware and ignorant I was, man. I'm just sitting there pressing the button. I see the bus clearly, it's coming. I see you can in that street, you can see it down like 5 blocks. Yeah. I'm looking at it. I'm just sitting there, and I'm just pressing the thing. I'm just waiting for it. the light, I noticed it turned yellow. The bus did not stop. The bus did not stop, man. And it passes right in front of me, dude.
Wow.
Giant wave of water soaked me, soaked my papers, soaked my backpack. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, I can't believe that this just happened. As soon as the bus passes, my thing turns green, and I'm like,
did you try to walk it off? You tried to walk it off like nothing happened?
Honestly, all I could do was walk, and cars were stopped on both sides.
You didn't run home?
No.
Of all the times you should have ran home, you didn't run home when you're like covered in filth water. But every other time, bright, nice sunny day, so dry.
Have you ever ran with like with just like wet clothes on?
It's rough. It's
It's
tough.
rough.
Okay.
It's rough. I mean, it was just a walk of shame, you know.
You're like, fucking man, this is, I mean, I can imagine the people inside the bus looking at a kid getting splashed with water.
They saw it coming too. They saw it coming. They were like, oh my god, he's gonna get the kid.
Bro, the thing turned yellow and the bus just booked it. He's like, you know what? Today's the day. I never run yellows, but today's the day. And
Bro.
I just happened to be there, man.
And what year was this?
This must have been freshman year. I graduated 2008. So like 2006,
Okay.
2005.
So there were definitely a lot less people on their phone. So there were people more watching. You know, back when people actually looked at the road. You know, they had five radio stations, and they didn't have to go through a phone
You
to
know
choose their best song.
Honestly, I got home and I was just soaked, man. Everything was just soaked. Just had it, you know. And then being Mexican, our parents teach us this myth that if you get wet, you know, let's say that it's raining, you get wet. If you don't go home and shower, you're gonna get sick. So, you know, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Got home, showered, and I was like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, well, you really try to like get away from the running story after like you deviated,
man.
but the self-awareness, you like it's one of those things. And so for like Itzel to call you out, that's what I would say. So this sharpens self-awareness, and I think it only ignites when you're either learning about yourself or learning about the human being, learning about the business, learning about whatever career you want to do. And then it's also the people around you who are just sharpening constantly. It's tough. It's tough having friends who are honest. It's actually, I sometimes enjoy unhonest friends, because there's sometimes, you could, but it's like,
sometimes you can just fuck off and
Yeah.
not feel under pressure.
yeah. But it's really good to have friends who call me out, and it takes a while. We don't call each other out too quickly. We understand human nature. We understand how we are.
We warm up to it.
We warm up to it
Yeah.
when we know. So
Yeah.
that's a sharpening thing right there.
And I think we do that, we do that a lot, We constantly have to sharpen we deviate, but that's what we're talking about, is the people around you is like, they see you fucking up, they're gonna call you, and that's what, to me, if somebody's gonna call me out, is because, like, they know what I'm going through, and it's gonna mean a lot than somebody that's just calling me out for no, and they're doing the same thing, you know what I mean? So that's why it's like, everybody's might call you out, but it's the intention behind it, you know what I mean? It's like, they're just calling you out just to fucking give you a hard time, or are they calling you out so you could improve and you could learn? So you have to kind of like, it's dependent on the person, correct?
Yeah.
Because if somebody else that's doing the same thing tells me, I'm like, what? But if you tell me, I'm like, all right, I'm fucking up.
Yeah, that's also happened, especially with people I don't know. I won't take their advice as serious as if it was someone who was close to me. But also, the advice from people, I don't know if you guys do this, we start to like put people on I guess I should say I do this.
Like on a pedestal?
When you're getting advice from someone, I start to really analyze, where is this advice coming from?
Oh, yeah.
Is it true advice? Is honest? I always know what the right move is. I just always sometimes need to hear it from someone else. And I'll hear different stories, but I'll always analyze, who's this person giving me this advice? And then when you're being raised by your mom and dad, and they're unaware, they're just doing their thing.
They're
You're not going to question them.
Yeah.
So, but we'll question our friends now, and the people, but we weren't questioning our parents. So,
especially if you grew up with a father that's very, in Spanish they say machista.
okay, you're gonna be.
You're not even allowed to question his authority.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like a lot of us had that growing up.
Oh, so that's like maybe like sexist. If you were a machista now. You'd be more
I don't know if
considered a
it's
little
sexist, but like he just seems like he's the overall authority of the house.
What's machista? Like, what is the definition of machista?
You know what?
Can you look it up?
Let me
look
look
that
it
one
up
up.
so I can see.
I'm curious. Because it feels like, based on what I know, machista has, when I've been told, it's kind of like
girls, no? They're controlling over
they're controlling over the women, or they're something about being men, and they have certain roles, and then the woman has certain roles. What do you
Okay,
got?
so machismo is the sense of being manly and self-reliant, the concept associated with a strong sense of masculine pride and exaggerated masculinity. It is associated with a man's responsibility to provide for, protect, and defend his family. So I just think that if we put it into this context, I feel like it's someone who basically has a say.
It sounds like an alpha, like when they describe alphas. But what is a machista? That was a machismo, no?
That's machismo. Machismo.
Because I've heard like someone say, I don't know if you know this. You probably heard it, like es un machista. Es un
machista is like the I don't want to say the like.
I think I'm connecting the word chauvinist. Right, the word, but machista. No one insults people calling them machista.
No, it's more of
what
like
is it?
the male being dominant over the female and not letting her do what she wants to do. You know, for him it's like she needs to stay home with the kids, and I work.
Well, in our culture.
Yeah.
In many different
like,
cultures.
I think it's
like she has no say in anything that has to do with the family,
with the house, with the moves,
everything.
like what we're doing next.
Financial moves, everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It says it's an aspect of.
Whatever that is. So you grow up around machismo, right? And maybe sometimes it's good. Maybe there's like a good, healthy level of being a machismo. Like there's some things that you mentioned in there that sounds like, well, either sex could do that or be that way. But it sounded like more alpha, like in charge. Who's in charge? So if you got that, and then you don't question that, and then you have that and you carry that with you, who's gonna correct your issues?
Yeah.
Who's gonna be there? And then you find someone who doesn't mind being the machismo's girl, then she's not gonna correct your issue.
And then second of all, man, how many people are aware of that? Like when you can't even question your own reality because those are the people that you're surrounded by. Like, do you see that train of thought never leaves that box? Like you're always in that box, and then people carry it throughout their life. Mm-hmm. And so that self-awareness is tricky, man.
Yeah, so I'll carry on with the machismo example, and then since his wife's not gonna say anything to him or husband, then they're going to go to work with this attitude and saying, why is there a woman in charge? There shouldn't be a woman in charge. And then you're rubbing people the wrong way because you have this point of view that's skewed a little bit, it deviated from its real purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so who's gonna correct it? It's gonna be eventually when you get into the workplace. Now, especially now, where someone's going to correct you, and it's going to be a big wake-up call. You'll be self-aware that you've been acting like a total dick the entire time to women. So, and that's only because you learned your perspective on how to treat someone from one person that you didn't question. So this whole thing on self-awareness is really the people around you constantly just kind of prodding and poking, and for like Itzel to call you out like in a joke way, like, hey, for run for it. It's
Look,
funny.
first of all, I don't know if she was joking or not. I hope she was joking.
Okay. But things like that, like some people will just make fun of you, and to try to sharpen your self-awareness. Some people will sit you down and talk to you and be like, hey, because I love you, I need to tell you this. But a lot of people won't tell you, that you're doing something wrong, or that you're acting a certain way that's not really becoming.
Yeah,
and
those people tend to be a bit more like, they stay quiet and they see. I wouldn't say all of them, but most of them, they're more judgmental, huh? And they're like, oh, this is the kind of person this guy is, Instead of like, hey man, like why are you doing this? This isn't right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people that are like, oh, this guy is just a jack off, whatever.
I think it's also, I don't think it's that we don't care about those people, but in that sense, maybe we also are don't want to be called out on our bullshit.
Yeah.
So we started this in this group, and probably it bites me in the ass every time knowing we started this in this group is we do call each other out on our bullshit, and that started because I did it to you, right? Or someone did it to somebody. And no, if you're gonna call me out on my bullshit, you better be ready. You better be ready when I see you slipping, I'm gonna go. And I think the bigger fear is people don't also want to get called out on their bullshit. They don't want to be sharpened because it hurts to be sharpened.
That's right.
Yeah, it's painful. The ego, it hurts. It hurts the ego. So I won't open that kind of honesty up to everybody. And maybe that says a lot about me, actually, because what am I afraid of? Why am I afraid to call people out? Because I'm afraid of those same people saying like, hey, who the fuck are you? Call yourself out. Like, don't call me out. And then when I do something wrong, I'm on my toes the whole time. Hey, you know what? I kind of like to be a nomad. I like to live on the edge.
Yeah.
And if I call people out a certain way, I have to be ready to get that back.
Right.
And that's why our mentors are the ones who are calling us out. Because they're the ones saying, like, they can be called out. They could be. What are you going to call them? How are you going to call them out?
Yeah.
When they're the ones teaching you something. So it's that we just don't want to open up that Pandora's box.
But I feel like it's more of a being receptive towards that, because a lot of people won't. Like you said, you're going to call them out, but they're going to listen. And I feel like if I would have seen Marco running, it would have been like, you just trying to get home, or whatever. I'm like...
First of all, Gilbert, I don't believe you, because the little things that have happened between us...
If I didn't know you, and I would have just seen you running, it's like, that guy's just doing his thing.
Also, what if I had to just take the biggest piss of my life?
For a week in a row, though? Or a week in a row? If it was the first day, I would have not cared. Second day, I would have been like, Third day, I'll be like, hey, look over here. This is the guy. He ran 3 times in a row already. That's been a couple days. Fourth day, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna see if he runs. Fifth day, I'm recording your ass. I'm recording your ass. No, you're gonna be a meme. Like every I'm gonna have all of them recorded. I'll never tell you to get good content. I was like, this guy. I'll tell him when the video's done.
And you know what? The other day I saw a kid running from his school. He started running, and it was like, he was kind of big too. It was like this guy. So I was like, that's Marco right there. That's Marco. He was running, man. He was like, but like I said, I was like, man, he's got places to be.
Now, I have seen that too, man. And now that I think about it, I never stopped and questioned myself. I'm like, hey, I used to do that. Like, why did I do that? I just saw them. I'm like, hey, like that kid's running, like kind of like how you did right now. It's definitely weird being called out on that.
So, I mean, if anybody, I don't want to call it, I'll finish it. I don't want to call everybody out. So if you're fucking up around me and I don't say it, it's not because I don't love you. It's not because you're like it's because I kind of like to see what happens. If I know it's not going to kill them, I won't. If it's going to kill them, I won't be able to keep my mouth shut. If I know it's gonna do something really crazy, I won't. But I mean, we can, and also you can only, like you said about being receptive, you can only call out people so much. So check this one out. If you were a non-receptive person, like you were saying, Gilbert, then and someone told you one time, and this was the moment that it was going to happen to you, and someone told you one time, and you weren't a receptive person because you were not a self-aware person, then and that person is never ever gonna, and you didn't change or you didn't do something different, that person is never gonna give you advice ever again. They're done. They're done with you, and that happens a lot. They might still like you. They might still want to be your friend. They might still appreciate you as a person, as a human. They're not gonna, but they won't do that anymore. They won't expel their energy for you anymore. If you're a really good friend, it'll be a couple times, 3 times. But if you're a family member, you know how it is with family. We forgive. We'll do it, but it's family, right? But when it comes to acquaintances, co-workers, so you're a shitty worker, and someone tried to tell you something and you weren't receptive, you're like, okay, they're just gonna watch you fall. They want to watch you fall. I guess that's kind of where I'm at with certain things.
Oh, for sure. Me too. I mean, there's, you know, and for me, it's, you know, I don't consider calling somebody out. It's more of trying to understand their situation and kind of like come to a conversation and make them aware, help, you know, hopefully get them aware of what they're doing is incorrect, or, you know, that's the wrong move. But past that, it's like, it's their life. They, you know, hopefully they learned, and you know, because I've been there, man. I've done some stupid stuff, but, you know, if I would have had somebody that would call me out, you know, I would have probably, maybe at that moment it was not receptive, but I would probably remember that at the end, where I'm like, damn, what he told me he was right.
Please do share.
So that's why I'm like.
Do you have one? Do you have one?
I have one.
Do you have a story of when someone gave you advice long time ago, and then you didn't follow it, you just kind of ignored it, or you agreed and you said, yeah, great, thank you, and then you continued doing it, and then now later on it hits you again, and then you're like, man, that person told me this.
Oh, I think my dad all the time. All the time. He's shown me he knows a lot. He knows a lot about everything and being prepared. But he would tell me, like, my cars, you know, take care of them, you know, to give them the oil change. That, you know, they're a big part of your work. It's like you use that to get to work and stuff. So that needs to be. And I was just like, okay. 6 months went by, and I wasn't changing the oil and stuff like that. And then when shit happened, once the fucking engine seized, you know, he's like, I told you so. I'm like, you know, but with my dad, it happens a lot. But now that I'm older and now that I have my business and stuff, it's like I see that and I'm like, damn, all right, I have to take care, because it's money. You know, it's money, but he didn't explain it to me that way, you know. So to me, it was like, you know, it's cool. It's gonna be all right. And once it happened, I'm like, Dad, I need your help. And he would always help me, you know, but it's one of those that he just told me once, and that's it. And he saw that. He saw the fall coming. Like you said, he just stood back and just like, told you, man.
Yeah.
I told you, you know.
I kind of, it's like a little, I enjoy it. I enjoy it a little bit, especially when someone's been told what to do, how to do it, and then they still don't. Because I did that so many times that I think looking back on it, I think it was a great experience. It was a learning experience. So I mean, although I wished it never happened, and I wish I would have been receptive to the advice, or, you know, and just not taking it lightly. But it was one of those things. Now I go, that's not going to kill that person. That car payment, they're going to learn later that car payment is a shitty thing to have. But you know what? That car payment is not going to kill them to learn this valuable lesson. I'd rather them make this lesson now before they become millionaires and do that. I'd rather them learn that, you know, payments suck.
And then the thing about that is, like, you can only tell them so many times before they're not willing to hear it again, right? So then all you can do is stand back and see what happens.
Yeah.
But like
And
you
hope for the
said,
best.
there's certain people that will tell you once, and they're like, "That's it, man. You only
Yeah,
get that
and
one."
that's the best we can do. Well, that's the best I can do. And with everything else, it's if people want to continue pursuing their choices, that's good with me, because at least they'll know where I stood.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to think about it. And so with the self-awareness with your dad, have you corrected anything with him? Like, do you correct him on his self-awareness?
Oh yeah, now all the time. All the time I call him out. See, like I
call him out.
I call him out. I call my family out now, and only because, like, I've seen what reading, what education, what just believing in everything, like anything that's possible. You know, it's like they can't own a home. We can't do this. We can't do that. And when they're talking, they're just very negative. So I'm just like, I'm done trying to. I just like, no, this is how it is. But at the same time, I have to be careful with that, because it's like I'm trying to call them out. What am I doing? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I better make sure that what I'm telling them, I'm doing it at a greater level.
Speaking of that level, mind, body, and soul. Where is that coming from? I didn't even know. I was like, that's
with everything. With everything, it's like you know, your body is what keeps your mind going. You know, healthy. So getting on a, you know, working out, doing that is gonna get you to where you want to be, to achieving those goals, and that's very important. And I've only learned this these couple of months where I really started, you know, hitting the gym, running, and setting myself goals. Where it's like, now one of my goals is to run a 26, you know, a marathon, and after that is going to be 100 miles, you know. And I know I have to train for, but so that's what I'm doing now, is like, you know, meditating, learning, and exercising, and working on the business, and you know, so I've been focused on that. So this whole thing, the coronavirus, like, it's, you know, it affects us, because now it's like you go in there trying to get your you know, whatever, and nothing's there, you know, so you have to wait, no toilet paper, none of this. But other than that, it's like it's just being focused on something else, you know, something that I want to do, you know, with everything. But
what about the soul?
the soul, you just got, you know, soul searching.
Well, look, man, this is how I feel. Like, some people, they're becoming aware at this time with your body. Like, before, maybe you had a gym membership and you went every other week or whatever, and then now that you're forced to stay home, maybe now you're realizing, oh man, like, it felt so good to go to the gym, like, every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of miss that, you know. And then for the soul, like, what about like people that just felt sad overall? Like, maybe they've already had a bad week, a bad year, whatever. And now this pandemic hits, and now not only are you already sad, but you already have like more things on top of that. Like those people are becoming more aware of things that they weren't aware of before, like how to the need of taking care of themselves, like self-care, you know, and the mind being prepared for the worst. Like, am I gonna be able to handle that? You know?
Well, what is the mind and then the body? What do you mean prepare it? Prepare it for what?
For like your mindset. Like, this is just an obstacle. We're gonna get over this.
Okay.
But what about the people that are maybe working at a restaurant who now for 2 weeks cannot go? I mean, where they make their money is in tips. There's none of that. Like, are you prepared to withstand that, or what's gonna happen to you?
By the way, I just a break on that. I just read a piece about if you're collecting tips, and you can file, I believe, unemployment, and then they can pay like 80% with the tip stuff. So there's help like that.
So there's programs.
There's programs like that. If you were like but having the mind, but the soul was the part I was curious about in Gilbert's journey with the soul. Because I think this is where this is coming from. He's been working on his mind and his body. He's been working on his mind for a while, and then he started his body. Like not long ago. Not long ago.
Still working process.
But there is the soul. What's going on?
The soul, man. I don't know.
I think that's what you were getting to, Marco.
Yeah.
Is when all this even the worst of the worst of the worst, the mind's gone and the body's gone, like those soul can remain like
Yeah.
really keep you grounded. I don't know if you're peaceful.
Yeah, it's been good, you know. I've been, going to church, so maybe that's where it's coming from. Where they're, I've been happy, peaceful, just surrounding myself with positive people that are just, that have the best intentions for you. And I think I needed that, in order for this whole journey to be a lot easier. The higher power, to just help me out. Get that extra help. But
Does it help?
it does, man. It does. It really keeps you going. Keeps you very positive, and especially through this. It's like you just you have to keep going, man. You can't stop your goals if you really want them. And then I do, man. I really want a lot of things, and this is just probably an obstacle, but I have to go through this to get to where I want to go, and I have no option anymore. I have no choice but to go through it and just fucking be the best and hope for the best.
Something that I just heard yesterday from my doctor was, whatever you're going through, you need it. Like you need it because you're either gonna learn from it or.
And I have, man. I'm like, damn. Now I have to be more prepared. I have to stock up.
Big wake up call.
Definitely, and I take that as part of this journey, as part of whatever I'm doing, because it hasn't been easy. Getting the van was not easy. We went in there, reaching for the stars, and we went from we ended up at Plan C, right? Plan C.
It was Plan C. Plan C.
Yeah, Plan D.
But look at that, man. Even just you had a Plan C. Most of us have. We don't even have a plan.
we have like a Plan F. Man. We had a Plan F. Yeah. We had it all the way. We had to know what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
No, we go in there to the Ford dealership, and I was just like, I want that 2019 brand new Ford Transit Connect. Here's $1,000 down. My credit's okay. Let's take it with $300 a month. That was it. I went in there with that, and they're like, hard no. They're like, nah, man. Like,
how long did it take them to say no?
No, that
was it
guy,
like a whole day?
No, he walked away for a minute, and then he came back.
He's like, how am I gonna break it to this guy?
But and then we came back. We came back to the board, and we were like, all right, let's strategize. Let's see what we can do. But I feel like it was hard for me because it was like, damn. And then we went to the Plan B, it didn't work. Plan C, didn't work.
All right, I think maybe we need context on this one.
Give some context.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna use the restroom.
Okay. So we had to purchase a vehicle for Pure One window cleaning.
Yeah.
And we had a limited budget and a limited credit score. I'm gonna put you. I'll put you on.
I mean, I already did.
Okay, you already opened it up. All right. So Gilbert has a limited credit score. Had. By the way, congratulations. Okay, yeah, it's doing a lot better now. Yeah. But this. So we go to the dealership. Well, we had 4 different plans to get the truck. And we got denied by the first one, and then we got denied by the second one. And then on the third one, we were able to finalize it just at like barely get Plan C.
We were thinking about Plan D already.
We were ready for Plan D.
Plan C was looking a little, but luckily and thank God we were able to go with Plan C and we created, we worked with what we had. And we made it ours. I went in there with the wrap, with the whole, but this was a whole year planning, it was for a whole year where we were planning this and stuff like that. Because we just got the van in January. Mm-hmm. So we met our goals, but it wasn't easy.
And my whole thing I was trying to get was with your soul. Because there was this one time, and I think this is actually when you started your soul search. I don't know if you remember this. You were going through a relationship crisis, and you had to ask on God to calm you.
Oh man!
And you were on the freeway. Do you remember that? You were on the freeway. You were like, I had to ask on like I actually asked God, like, and it's been a while. It had been a while. I don't know what you were going through.
I don't remember.
Okay, well, you were calling on God. Are you doing that more now?
Oh yeah, man. What do you mean, like?
Are you
yeah,
calling
yeah.
on God now? Are you
Yeah,
are you
definitely,
starting to like
definitely.
have like a faith now? Like
Definitely,
us,
definitely.
or the relationship
Oh yeah,
is
yeah.
stronger
No,
now?
it's getting better. It's great, man. Like I said, I just went, to a little getaway with some friends and Christian friends, and it was great. It was a great experience. So yeah, definitely.
Because that when you told me that story, I remember laughing because I think I had like gone through something similar where I needed to call. I don't call on God. Like it hardly ever happens. I never really even say the word God, but. And there was this time, and then he told me his story, and I'm like, yeah, it was almost like we needed the soul connected back again, because we can only prepare so much. We
Yeah,
can only
sure,
prepare,
yeah.
like, we need the universe to fucking throw us a bone every now and then. We need to have like some faith in something. We can only
Higher
prepare so
power.
much, the higher power.
Yeah.
And that kind of reminds me now you're using it more. You're
Oh
starting
yeah,
to
yeah.
bring it,
Oh,
especially for those
definitely.
moments.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
there's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a
There's a
lot.
lot where I'm like, all right, but to me, it's part of the journey. It's part of
Oh,
Of,
I forgot. You gotta keep it up
oh damn,
right there.
it's part of what this life is about, man. We only live once, I guess, and we just gotta make the best of what we have. And now that I understand, in what path I want to go in terms of financially and what I want to do, and it's freedom. It's the freedom to do whatever I love, and that's what keeps me going. And especially in times like this, where I'm like, I have to go through this. I guess this is my life, and let's deal with it, and let's move on, because the end goal is not. And I was reading the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it's that. Oh no, it's the Power of Now, right? Where
Yeah.
you start with the end in mind.
No, that's
Is the 7 Habits? Yeah. So I'm like, I started with the end in mind, and that's why I've been hitting the gym, exercising, because I'm like, I want to run a marathon. I want to run 100, and I need to get in shape for that. So it's kind of like it goes with everything, but it's just being focused on something, and starting with the end goal in mind, and it'll get you through these moments and the tough moments of what we have to go through in life.
And also, man, now that you say that, sometimes okay, yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so you called me and you asked me, hey, how's your industry? Have you been affected by this coronavirus?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, not that much. And then I said, I'm about to go and meet with the property, with all the tenants. They're a little unhappy of,
Mm-hmm.
some rent increase, and then this program that we're signing them up for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I got there were 20 angry families
Wow.
at the office waiting for me. And they were waiting for me to give them answers. They were waiting for me to, they're basically waiting for me to tell them why, for whatever reason, whatever the owner did, why did he do it? Can't you see, they're starting to
Wow.
blame me about everything. And I'm sitting there, people left and right just shouting over each other. And I said, wow, this is almost amazing. Like, the not the panic, but the stress flooded my system, and I said, holy shit, I feel alive. So in like now thinking about yesterday, I'm like, dude, that wasn't so bad. In fact, it made me feel alive. It made me kind of like stop whatever was, like, I had no other focus but that, you see. And then I was able to kind of pick everything out into pieces, and then frame questions for me. And then, I got through it, man, but it was for the first 5-10 minutes.
What did you tell them? What did you tell the people?
Well, exactly what happened,
What?
Okay, so some properties, some owners that have properties, they bill your utilities such as water, sewer, and trash within the rent, right? Okay, so some property owners have found a loophole because sometimes like the bills can lead up to $100,000 a year from all the utilities, right? Well, they're like, well, you know what? I don't want to pay for that anymore. The tenants should pay for that. So they get the third company that installs a program, and basically you give the tenants a 30-day notice to basically acclimate to the new charges and whatever, and then I mean it's a change. It's a change of terms on the lease. Basically, it's what it is. Like if you want to live here, then you have to pay for the water, sewer, and trash, electricity, whatever. Well, a lot of people weren't happy, because my intention was, I want to save the owner this money, but I want to do it in lieu of not raising the rent. But when this AB 1482 that hit, here in Southern California, when that happened, then the owner kind of got freaked out. He's like, well, when am I going to be able to raise the rents? It's like, again, I need to get up to market value. So he did it anyway. So then now these people are were looking at me and they're looking for answers.
Because you guys raised the rent and then switched the utilities in the same time.
Yeah.
It probably could have been done better, like sparsed out. But it was because your intention was just because you're not going to raise the rent.
Yeah, because what people don't know, they don't understand is that last year, rent increases there wasn't a cap. You can go 20% if you want. Like there's no cap. Well, when the owner started hearing, oh, there's going to be a cap now, we're going to be limited, and although it sounds worse than it really is, because small owners, they don't typically raise rents above 5% anyway.
If you're living in Southern California and your rent goes up 5%, it's probably, obviously depending on how much rent you pay, but it's like $50 for me a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's about
it's
average.
about average. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's normal. What we've been dealing with is just they put a cap because certain people.
And when they put the cap,
everybody raised their rent.
Like, you know what?
All the property owners. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just because.
So what is it? AB 1489. What is it called?
AB 1482.
1482. It's it puts a rent increase, a max percentage amount on property owners.
Yeah. So it's right now in Orange County. It's in wherever the bill was signed into. It's 5% plus CPI, which is cost of living for that individual county.
So you can go up to 8%. Because if it was 3%, right now, if the API?
Yeah, CPI.
CPI.
So right now, the CPI in Orange County, I believe it's around 3%. So, you can raise it 5% plus CPI, which is now 8%. Maybe next year or maybe later this year, the CPI will be really low because a lot of people, it went down because with the economy or whatever. Or maybe it'll go up. It'll increase. I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Yeah, keep an eye on that.
I'm going to have to take a look. But it can even go negative. The CPI can go negative. So it can go -2. So now you can only increase the rent by 3%.
That year.
And
if next year it's 8%, you can make up whatever 8%. Percentage.
Mm-hmm.
But it's they're putting on a max. And that's what people weren't happy about.
Yeah, they were right.
And so your boss, he did the regular rent increase, right?
He did the 8%.
The 8%, which is what they put. This bill said this is the number, and obviously most people are going to be like, sure, we'll follow the. Before there wasn't really a number.
No.
It was like an unspoken rule.
Yeah.
Was it an unspoken rule?
Yeah, and then it averaged out to be 5% amongst all small property owners.
Which is what I've always seen in my rent. It was always 5% because you do too much of that, and even I think real property owners know, like, if you got good tenants and they've been paying their rent every month and you're getting your return, why would you raise their rent so high that you would potentially lose that tenant? Yeah,
because now not only are you losing the rent, the profit, but now you're also losing the stability, and it's a number of things that you're losing.
But are they so they're mad at because of the fact that where they're living. It's like they don't
They're
see
upset because of the rent increase and the utilities being passed on to them.
So they all got together and they said we're gonna go attack this guy at the same time.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
That's-
they
was
should.
it a mob? Was it felt like a mob to you?
Yeah.
It sounds like a
Yeah,
mob.
honestly, they should have just brought their torches, and I would have felt more comfortable because I would have understood what they were trying to do. You know, at the end of the day, they understood that I was just representing the company, and then they understood that I was just gonna bring their concerns up to the owner, and then it's up to him. Like, there's nothing that I can do. My intention was well intended. It was to save them from, a 12%, rent increase, and then but then at the end of the day, I have to protect his assets. If this is what he wants to do, it's what he wants to do, and that's not up to me.
Yeah.
But everybody really made it seem like it was my fault. So
Well, yeah,
it was an experience, man, that for me, being in that room, I was like, well, man, like, you have to be more prepared. They're throwing questions. They're saying, no, you're a liar. They're saying things that, I mean, things that I may not even repeat on here.
Okay.
Yeah. It got pretty intense.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And you were like, man, I'm just a representative.
Yeah, well, it's the facts. We gave you a 30-day notice. That's all we're required to do by the law, by California law. That's what it is. Like, you're on a month to month. You have to, if you want to live at this property, these are the terms.
Nothing you did was illegal. You have a person who owns the property, and they told you this is what it's going to be done, and you, as a property management company, took care of that. And if you would have seen something illegal, you most likely wouldn't have done it. But everything you did was within your right as a property management company and a property owner to do. That's what they were worried about. What this law was gonna do was, okay, people were gonna be in fear of, I'm not gonna be able to I'm not gonna be able to rent as much as I want. Some people were never raising rents. Some people never did. They just thought it was fine. So then what happened when this bill goes in? Everybody just maxed on the rent. They maxed on what the law created.
Right.
And that caused a lot of
backlash.
Because it was like you were trying to help people, and I get what it was designed to do. It was designed to try to help people, but at the same, there was going to be some property managers who said, hey, well, if they're going to make the law and that's what I can do, that's what I'm going to do. So I don't blame the property manager for doing it, although that's a little bit if you knew that you were gonna do this to them in the utilities.
If I knew we were gonna rent,
that's a lesson.
Rent,
that's a lesson learned.
We would have. I would have said no. We should not do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably would have waited until.
Yeah,
other
I
terms
mean,
came.
dude, property. It's not just the rent. This came with. It's like a package deal. Like, there's property tax involved. That they're raising the property tax depending on your zoning. One of the properties that I work in, that he owns, it just became a high risk of flood.
Yeah.
So insurance went up, and now you have to have flood insurance. Like, a bunch of things that this bill that they passed within this bill, it just really messed up a lot of the day-to-day.
Yeah, so I think only because you've done property management and we've been a part of home maintenance. Mm-hmm. I've done real estate. There's a cost to owning a home. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
No, go ahead.
there's a cost to owning a home. And when, just like we were talking about self-awareness with jobs and everything like that. Okay, no, Marco cannot stop laughing. This guy is like, he's giving you, what is it?
It's because I'm not sure if it was me.
I thought it was Gilbert. Did your
My stomach's growling?
your tum-tum, was it growling?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because I didn't eat all day today.
Oh, this guy.
So
And then Robert was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm going on a 5-day fast.
I
said it was. It just,
By the way, I'm on day 2 right now. Yesterday was really, it was at night. I'm giving Itzel the speech like, hey, we gotta get through this. We gotta get through this.
is she doing it too?
Yeah, she's doing it too.
Oh, wow.
So I started last night. I was ready to give up. I was ready. I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, there's no reason to hurt yourself like this.
Yeah.
This is painful. But I got over day 1, and day 2 felt a lot better. Although I did feel a little like lightheaded. But that wasn't me. That was that noise came from over there.
I thought it was like, I'm like, man, like, I should really eat right now, but yeah.
All right, we'll end there. We'll end on that note if you want.
No, well, anyway.
No, we're good.
Hey, but we haven't gotten to Robert about his cringy moments, so.
Well, I don't have any. I'm the cringe. Like how if someone else, like let's say an ex-girlfriend was saying it, I'd be the cringe moment for them. Like I'm the cringe. I'm not Marco running. I'm the running. Yeah. We're talking hairstyles. I mean, it doesn't stop. But we're talking clothing.
Your nails.
I painted my nails. I had eyeliner, things like. But no one told me. Well, I mean, my family did. They were like, "Why do you do that? That's weird." But I did it anyway. So I mean, that other than that, then there's like financial stuff that I didn't.
I'm sure we can find a few things in there.
Yeah, online. I'm sure. Some. I've some.
That's why you can't run for government.
No, cannot. I'm gonna stay out of politics.
Politics.
Yeah, I'm good.
Not for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, talking about politics, man, last night at that room, I felt like I was like a politician. I even said, I'm not a politician. I'm just here doing my job. I said that. Because the things that they were throwing out, oh, you guys are two-faced. Oh, you guys are liars. I'm like, okay, it looks like that because of what happened, right? But it was not the intention. And so whether they believe it or not, I mean, I don't think, they're going to believe whatever they see, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
But it's like one neighbor to be like, nah, you gotta tell those people.
So was it all from one complex?
all one complex.
Yeah.
And we have 26 families there. 27 families.
Oh, so before the whole stomach thing, so there's a
The
cost.
housing.
There's a cost of doing business when you own property. It's not. They don't just take your rent and go deposit it in a bank and then they're like, got him again this month. There's a lot of work involved. There's a lot of taxes. Like there's maintenance, and especially if there's an owner who owns multiple properties.
But that's what they don't understand.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You go into that with that mentality of you're not understanding what the business owner needs, what the business owner requires of you. Like this is part of the cost of he's trying to have a profit. It's sad to say, but it's a business. It's a real estate business. It's property. It's only commercial property and renting them out. Where otherwise would those people rent from, or who? You're renting from a corporation right now, property manager. Someone owns that building, and when they put their money inside, they're expecting a return. They're expecting something to come back to them. They don't do it for free. This is not a nonprofit. This costs time and money. They have to hire you. They hire window cleaning services. So they're spending money on these things, and it costs money and time. And like you said, insurance. And then you have people. Okay, no, you got to get. Oh, you need a business license. You want to, all these little things, bank fees, taxes, everything. So it's
a lot of costs.
It's a lot of cost. So when you raise the rent up $150 because you're trying to save your boss some money, you're justified to do that. Although you know the line where it becomes unethical. You know that line. You're not a slumlord. You're not a bad person. You knew what you needed to do, and I think that if your boss was telling you to do something that was unethical, you would have said no, but this was going to happen anyways. What you were trying to do was you were trying to break the fall. you were trying to like cushion it for these people.
Mhm.
Like, okay, we'll do one thing this month, and then in 6 months we'll go and
Right.
Yeah.
we'll do the 8%, which
Yeah.
is what we were gonna do anyways. So, but
It
dropping
just so
two
happened
things.
to. It just so happened to be within months of each other. So I mean, I understand them.
But
You
as a
know.
property management company that you are, I mean, that's what your job comes with, you know.
I mean,
Yeah.
like Robert said, it could have been a month. It could have been 7 months.
Yeah.
It wasn't gonna make a difference. You know.
But I'm sure they were just angry, man.
They're emotional.
You went in
Especially
there and-
around this time, because a lot of
Yeah.
people are not.
Yeah.
You know, they're losing their jobs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So I mean, at the same time, it's like you have to understand that the tenants, you know, they're you know, it's like.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I
I rent, you know, so I put myself in their shoes. Most of my family rents, and I really did.
Here's what I'd recommend for next time, because there will be, right. You're gonna be a property
I'm gonna
management
be
company.
there tomorrow. I'm gonna be there tomorrow to, you know.
No, not with the people.
Oh.
I'm talking. There's gonna be a next time when you deal with this with your client, and you are enacting a plan, and you have to give the advice and go, which is what Gilbert was saying. Hey, these are families, and they have certain bills. They have certain things, and the way I'm structuring this is I'm going to do this first, and then we're going to give them some breathing room to acclimate, and then we're going to do it again. We're going to hit them. And I know that this is going to save you money, but you're going to lose potentially good renters that have been paying rent for years. That's worse business than saving the money in between the 7 months. So next time when you'll know this, because this is your first time, I think, making these moves.
Yeah.
You'll know to be able to say that to your client.
And then I'll have a reference.
But at the
you
same
know.
time, the pressure's on for your boss to really keep that place maintained, you know, because that's what they're gonna start talking about.
Oh, so you opened that
Oh,
Pandora's
yeah.
box too. Remember the whole thing
Yeah.
about calling people out?
Mhm.
That this is just what happened.
Exactly, man.
So you
So,
guys are at, you know, they're gonna be on everything.
oh man,
You're gonna get work
Trust
orders
me. Trust
left and
me.
right.
trust me. They're like, well, one of my stove burners doesn't work. It hasn't worked for 5 years. I'm like, why haven't you said anything?
I'll tell you why. I've been
Same
renting
reason.
for a long time, and when my rent increases, I start to kind of look around and go like, you know what? I'm gonna pay
I
more
can live
rent.
with this.
No, I'm gonna call them up. They're gonna come to
yeah.
work. If they're gonna charge me more rent, $50 a month, I'm gonna get the things around the house fixed.
But what I mean is, like, if it hasn't been working for 5 years, why haven't you said anything?
Okay, I have this in my bathroom faucet. It's the hot water.
Uh-huh.
You have to turn it like 2 or 3 times before it turns on. It's a little annoying thing that's in my house right now, and I haven't gone to the managers to go tell them about it. But when we need hot water, we're probably gonna turn it twice, 3 times. But months could pass,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, will they be like, why didn't you tell us before? And they'll be like, because it's
And I
not.
get it too, because people don't really they probably won't use it as often, so they're like, whatever. But once you start raising the rent, they're like, oh, hold on.
Oh yeah, once you start,
Like,
I'm getting picky.
This is
I'm-
what I need.
I'm gonna start
Yeah.
critiquing more, and this is what happens. And I think because clients who own a lot of property that hire property management companies, they never see this. They never experience that, so they don't mind just boom, let's go. But they don't see the wave that's gonna come after.
Oh yeah.
And that's now your new knowledge that
yeah.
you've
They were
gained.
telling me like, oh, bring the owner. Like, why are we even talking to you if you're not gonna do anything? I'm like, well, this is my job. My job is to mitigate this, and find a solution for both you and him. But so I mean, people were like recording me, dude. It was,
Oh no!
I was just really.
I forgot what year it was for a moment. Yeah.
And they were like, I'm gonna record you, and I was like, well, I don't consent. I said that. I'm like, because if you're gonna start talking about like people's, their private information.
Man, you're probably on Facebook right now. You're
I
probably on
am
Facebook.
gonna spend the rest of the night on YouTube trying to find this video online. Like I'm gonna spend some
Look,
time.
man, if I'm on there and I seem stupid, I mean, I'm on here and I already seem stupid, so I can take the heat.
Yeah, you're fine.
That's funny,
We
though.
just need another running home kind of thing.
I shouldn't have said that, but
Yeah, but it happened.
I mean, it's just part of learning, man. It's
It
just
is.
what's, it's,
It's all
what else
part
can
of
you
your
do?
Job, man. That's part of your job, so you just have.
But imagine Gilbert, if you're sitting down with the client, they're like, Well, you left. You told me you were gonna do every class here, but you didn't do that one. And then you're like, well, I told you all of them in the first floor. That's not the first floor. No. Well, you're wrong. And now I'm gonna record you. You're sitting there trying to give the guy an explanation. Oh my god, dude.
That's funny. Hey.
What an experience.
I don't know if I even would have sat with him. I really don't know. I would have just been like, no, it's not gonna happen.
Well, because he's also renting, he understands the fact that these people are frustrated and just
like I put myself in the shoes.
Because I'm sure when he goes back, they're not gonna,
So just let people vent then. I would just sat there and just listened to them and maybe just started writing. Say I'm not going to respond to anything, but you know what? Let me write all the questions down. I'll have all the questions and I'll get back to you all.
See, that's a very logical way.
But when you were attacked,
but when you were sitting there, you walk in, and then next thing you know, there's a mob, and they're closed.
This was your first mob. So you get the experience here, and when that happens again, you'll be good. You'll be like,
look, what you're going to do next time, you know this now. You're either going to say, do I want to get mobbed, or do I want to tell the property owner that it's a very bad idea to do two things like this in one shot? We need to spread this out. So which one do you want to do? Because I am not going to get mobbed again in my life. You do not have to be mobbed twice in your life. Fool me once, shame on me. Only twice. Shame on you.
Yeah, and the thing is that I told the on-site property manager, I'm like, hey, just get me 1 through 10. I'll do 1 through 10 today. I'll go back on Wednesday. I'll do, 10 to 20, and then I'll do Friday, 21 to 27. No, it was just like they saw a mob. They all came out, and I was like, dude.
It's just what they do. Just like one person.
I'm like, don't you guys always talk shit about each other. You guys don't come out. What do you guys do?
They unite when they go.
Yeah, we all need an enemy.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what happened. That's just what it is.
Like Gilbert said, it's part of the job. You are not their friend. You are just a person that takes care of their.
And that's where they say emotion. You have to sometimes just.
You won't let it happen again, though. No, that's not happening
dude.
Again. You learned a valuable lesson right there.
But it's the same thing. It's like I would have never anticipated something like this. How could you prepare for something like that? Like I could have been like, you know what, this is what's gonna happen.
You can prepare for certain things, but you can't prepare for some of these.
For that outcome.
If you had worked at a property management company for 5-10 years before. You would have heard about this happening. You would have experienced someone making a change like that, and then you probably heard from someone like a mentor saying like, "Hey, we can't do two things at one time. We'll get a mob." Because I'm sure there's been another property manager that's been mobbed.
It's been worse probably.
Yeah, you got
honestly, man. I've heard some stories from property managers. It's really bad out there. Yeah.
I will not own property and not hire a property management company. I'm not getting into the real estate business to have to deal with I'm hiring a property manager. I'll pay that extra. If I can't afford that extra, I couldn't have afforded the property in the first place. So I'm not. It's gonna be with the property because I don't want to deal with that. People coming.
Imagine, man. Just imagine you're sitting there. You have maybe 6 units, and 6 families. I mean, 6 families, man. It's not just 6 people. Oh, some people were like carrying their kid, and I'm like, dude, and then I learned that the on-site property manager, I don't know, like there was some miscommunication. I'm like, man, what's going on? First of all, there's miscommunication between here, and then you're spewing that out to me. I mean, I wasn't there. It's he said, she said. Like honestly, It was tough, and then it was raining. So me and my dog, we walked through the car like walk of shame, all wet. And I come here, I sit down. I'm like, dude, and you know what? On the way here, I was so stressed. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go get McDonald's. Like, I'm just gonna. No, I had to keep my composure. I'm like, you know what? No, dude, I have to learn from this. I have to just take it on the chin, man.
Don't take it personal.
Yeah.
Don't take it personal.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it was definitely cool. It was a cool experience. It definitely made me feel alive. And I was thinking, like, man, I should do more things like that. You know, maybe I should go jump out of a plane or something.
You go get mobbed? Oh, just the rush. The adrenaline.
Well, yeah, because it made
was it the right adrenaline?
Huh?
Was it the right adrenaline? Like, was it the right kind of feeling?
No, it made me feel a little overwhelmed. But
you haven't been pushed like that in a while?
Well,
Like
I mean,
that?
lately I would say yeah, because of the, you know, whatever episodes that I've had.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's long gone. It reminded me of that. You know, the heart was pounding. You're looking around. You're like, is this really happening? Is this a movie? Like, what is happening right now? It was just very bizarre. Did not prepare for it at all. But the experience, man. It's really what it's about.
Yeah.
That's how you live. That's how you learn,
I've
man.
had my share of experience. I come talk to this guy. It's one of those where you just have to live it, you know, to fully understand.
Yeah, I mean, today I woke up and I said to myself, I'm like, man, that really happened yesterday. That really happened yesterday. I kind of pinched myself. I'm like, was I dreaming, you know? No, it definitely happened. And I have to be back there Wednesday, tomorrow, so wish me luck.
Good.
You got it.
It seems like they got what they had to say.
They were emotional. They needed to get something off. And are you gonna follow up with like a letter to everybody, or how's that?
No,
gonna
man,
work?
I'm gonna go back there and just. But this time I have a frequently asked questions about the program, and you know the owner should have an answer for me today. Are you gonna keep this program? If he says yes, there's nothing I can do. You know, so I just go and tell him, you know, he's not gonna waive the utilities. It's part of the lease now. And then, if you have questions over how you're being billed, here's the paper. You can call, you can email, you can go on the website. That's it. So I'm prepared now. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, yesterday was one of those things, man. That it was definitely.
You definitely had to go through it, man.
Of course, man, and I'm happy I went through it, because now it's like it became part of my arsenal. Like, now it's also in my comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know, I know what
I can get mobbed.
I can get mobbed and keep
now.
my composure. You know,
Okay.
You survived, man. You're a survivor.
Definitely funny, man. Well, I mean, if you guys want to wrap this up, I think we've been doing this for. I think another viewer just joined us right now. If you guys don't already know, visit Pure One today. Support Gilbert. He's doing an amazing job out here in Orange County. If you have $1 million view, why go elsewhere? Keep that $1 million view. Keep it clean. Keep it clear with Pure One. Pure One today.
It's the right way. The only one.
If you're reading a book, and maybe you're lost in the book, maybe you picked it up and maybe you don't understand. Maybe you don't understand something. Maybe you're stuck. Reach out to Robert at reading_rainbook with the K. Rainbook
on Instagram.
On Instagram. And in fact, I saw some of the posts that you did.
I did.
Very informative.
Oh, cool. Glad you liked it.
Yeah, really good, man. I really enjoyed them.
Right, I didn't see a like or anything, but whatever, it's fine. No, it's cool. I don't know. I don't need them.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's nice of you.
Follow him.
You know,
No subscription.
you look, I don't care about that. I if someone gets help from it, if someone enjoys it or reads a book because of it, I would have done my job. So that's fine.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell so that you get alerted next time we're live. And then we're going to end this with a little excerpt from Heart of Buddha. So here we go. If a man's mind becomes pure, his surroundings will also become pure. So I suggest you take that at face value. Maybe come back on the comment section. Let us know what you thought about today's episode. Do you have any questions? Are you guys being affected by this coronavirus? What's going on? You know, somebody must be out there. Somebody's listening. Let us know what's going on out there. And with that, we're gonna let you guys go as soon as I find the mouse.
There, guys.
Bye.